As a North Carolina native who's lived and worked outside the state for many years before returning home, explain to non-Tar Heels what the state was like when you first lived here versus now in terms of the demographic and political shifts. It appears that outside of the state, people have the impression that doesn't match reality. How do you intend to convince the political movers and shakers that North Carolina is ready to elect an openly gay, politically progressive candidate to the U.S. Senate?
Well, when I graduated from college in 1978 and then took a job working in New York in 1979, I found it very condescending, the attitude of a lot of folks in the northeastern part of the United States that still look down on the South as sort of a place where we all sit around drinking moonshine and living a Beverly Hills Billies or type of lifestyle, if you will. I mean, they really regarded this, and it came up in Jimmy Carter's campaign when he was a very successful peanut farmer. He was derided and his family was made fun of, and that I didn't like that. That did not resonate well with me one iota. The perception of the state, however, was not helped any during the era of the Jesse-crats. It sent Jesse Helms and others who were elected in the Senate, John East, Locke Faircloth, sent a really, really negative message about our state to the rest of the country and to the world, and it created this impression that North Carolina was a hotbed of I'd say of really divisiveness and in many cases hate that I knew was not necessarily indicative by and large of the people that I'd grown up around with, and my family and my friends. Now, having moved back here 2 years ago, I can say that the one thing that struck me right off the bat was the fact is how different the faces have changed in our state. You used to have people were black and they were white. Now they're black and they're white and they're Chinese and they're Indian and from all different and Hispanic, from a lot of different ethnic groups and social and cultural groups. Much more of a melting pot like you see elsewhere in the United States. Having said that, at the same time, there's still an elitism that prevails in other parts of the country about the South. I mean, they view the South as this one great big red region state. And I tell people again and again, North Carolina is not indicative of the entire South. We are a blue state that has 2 red senators. My mom used to say, and I'm sure many people have heard the old adage, that North Carolina is a valley of humility situated between 2 peaks of conceit. Well, that northern peak of conceit kind of runs all the way up the eastern seaboard, but with the kind of leaders that we're going to elect and some that we have in office right now in Washington and elsewhere, as well as the kind of growth that the state has made economically. I mean, Charlotte is home to 7, I believe, Fortune 100 companies, which ranks at 6th in the country. 6th! Now who would have thought that would have been the case back in 1978? So North Carolina has changed a great deal, and the voice of the Jesse-crats that went down to an ebb a long time ago. And North Carolina's capacity and tolerance for somebody who is fiscally conservative and socially progressive like me, I think it is very open. It's not an impediment to my campaign. In fact, I think it's a plus. People who wouldn't vote for me for reasons such as my sexual orientation, hell, they wouldn't have voted for me anyway. So I don't think I'm going to lose anything as a consequence of that. I think that's just pure ignorance to assume otherwise.